What up, family? CTR Media Network. Yeah. Best in the biz. Yeah. Join the team. CTR is who we are, the media network, that's the best by far. Whether you listen at your home, at your job, in your car, come get the information that's needed above par. Never lasting, motivational podcasting, giving you the answers to the questions that you're asking. Serious talks and topics, how to come up and profit, how to better yourself. Your health is here, we got it. Reaching 350 million, they tuning in. We in 50 different countries, we all can. And like-minded, find your purpose and your assignment. Come get your fix, your feel, your mental alignment. Get active and speak to the masses. Build your influence all levels and all classes. Now you know you can monetize and grow. CTR Media Network, start the show.
The Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show. Let's talk about it. 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 On the Vera Thomas Show. Let's talk about it. Yeah.
Hello. And like always, I'm excited. I am so excited about my guest today, and I'm going to pull her up. Hello, Donna. How are you?
Hello.
I am so excited that you're here with me today, and I'm
Thank
going to take a few minutes and share with our audience a little bit about Donna. Say your last name again, because
Tashjian.
Tashjian.
Can you see the Dr. Tina on there? I'm curious.
Oh yeah, Dr. Tina, she says you can support me by sending stars. Stars
Cool.
help me to earn money to make more content. Thank you, Dr. Tina, for sharing that information. And here, I'll pull that down. And let me get back to your bio and share with our audience about Donna Tashjian. Donna is the founder of Vibrant Living International, a nonprofit organization. She is a life mastery coach, an ordained minister, a podcaster, and an author. She helps bring accelerated transformation to people across the world. She empowers you to master life, spirit, soul, and body. Donna has been speaking and coaching for over 25 years. She has developed powerful programs and workshops to help you through life's transitions, pain to achieve your goals or dreams. She also produces a podcast called You Were Designed for Greatness and has written 3 books. Her clients say she has a knack for turning fear into excitement and exposing lies so the truth can shine through. Shine through. That's what's going to happen today. We're going to shine through. Truth is going to shine through today. Now listen, I want you to share with our audience a little bit more about you, your journey, and how it is that you have developed this passion for the work that you do.
You know how there's some things that we don't necessarily develop, but it's just something that comes naturally, and helping people and talking with people over the difficulties life can bring is something I've seemed to have always found myself doing, even when it wasn't intentional. But a little bit about me. I became a mother at the age of 15. And for anyone who can remember where you were when you were 15, to say that those next years were a hard or a struggle is putting it mildly. And just to give you a little recap, it wasn't a consensual situation. I had a beautiful baby girl and did raise her, finished high school, got my own place by the time I was 18, and began to figure out how to build up my self-esteem, to not be so insecure. Was I worth anything? Was anybody going to love me? All of that kind of feelings, and shame. There's a lot of shame. And then there's blame, on those words that just get all involved. And I have a program that I've developed now called Turn Your Baggage into Luggage. Well, there was a lot of baggage. And so all of that was going on as I began to go into adulthood. That was already happened. As I began to be an adult, meet my future husband, try to figure out how to have a marriage when I'm not sure I'm lovable. All of that kind of stuff is things that I have gone through. About 10 years ago, I went into coaching full time, and Vibrant Living was born. So before that, it was always something I was doing on the side. So that's a little bit about me.
Oh my, oh my, oh my. So you turned all that pain into purpose and passion.
Mm-hmm.
And to have been violated at the age of 15 and raise your daughter, my heart goes out to you. I was also violated at 19. Well, I didn't get pregnant by it or anything like that, but anytime you are violated under any circumstance,
Yeah.
it is hard, and it takes a while
Yes.
to overcome that. I mean, you just don't overcome it overnight, and the guilt, the shame, and all of
And
those
it's also
things.
hidden.
Yes.
You know, if you had been in a car accident, or if you'd been in some kind of other trauma and you had bruises and broken bones, everybody would be like, I get it. You know, you need to heal, but it's all on the inside. And then we
Yeah.
pretend like it's not there. And we
Yes.
stuff it down, and we're like, I'm okay. I'm fine. And most of the time, Vera, it's because we had to be.
Yes.
We
Because
don't have
nobody's going to
time.
believe you.
That's right.
For
We don't
one
have time for
thing,
it not to be okay. I had a little girl to raise, and it actually happened when I was 14. She was born when I was 15. So, you know, all of that is going on the inside. And I don't even think we realize the depth of what all of that kind of trauma does to
yes.
us. I don't think we fully realize it as I didn't as a young woman, as a
Of course
child,
we
really
don't.
at
Of
all.
course we don't. And the thing is, and then until you realize and until you come to grips and to terms with it, it's even hard to talk about.
Yeah.
You know, it's something that's just, you know, it's hard to talk about.
Mhm.
It took a long time before I could even talk about it without crying
Yeah.
and being emotional. But understanding that you went through that and had to raise a child. Can you
Yes.
tell me a little bit about your family, your parents in this situation, and how
Um,
they reacted and responded to you?
uh, it was as if I was just pregnant. It was really never talked about. And they gave, you know, a lot of young women are kicked out, not, you know, all of those kind of things. They gave me a home. I had a place to live. They helped me to prepare a place for the baby. I finished high school. So all of that was there for me. But it was also, there was a lot of shame and embarrassment for them. So therefore I felt that as well. And learning how to and then there was siblings in the home and different things along those lines. So I grew up in a religious home. And I did have a relationship with God as a young woman, as a teenager. Well, I had an encounter with God at 12. So I had no idea at 12, 2 years later, this would be going on. But at the same point, to me, religious is a lot of stuff that you're not supposed to do and you're never good enough.
I
And
grew up in
so,
the church too, so
yes.
I understand.
Yeah. So to me, there's relationship and religion. And
there's spirituality.
yes. Yeah. All of that. So, yeah. So I did have a relationship with God that was created out of prior to all of this, but there still was a lot of shame and rules and, you should be ashamed kind of feeling.
Oh my. Did you know your assailant?
I did.
Oh my. Okay. So it brought you to where we are now. So
Yes.
tell me about when did you become a minister? And can you talk about your experience behind that?
Yes, I have been involved in church leadership and since my 20s. I'm sitting and thinking how many years that is. About 40 years, I guess it is, 35 years that I've been involved in church leadership. And as far as becoming a minister, Vibrant Living had began. I knew it was something that God called me to do, and some people close to me that they ordained people said, it's about time you were recognized for the call of God on your life. And that happened about 5 years ago now, I think. So.
Okay. Wow, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And look how he's using you to help those who
I'm
are
not a traditional quote minister. I'm not going to start a church per se. I'm not doing all of the quote traditional things, but at the same point, I meet with people all over the world daily. And I teach and share and encourage and pray for people and all of those things. So it's just a different kind of aspect. My ministry is to the broken so that they can fulfill whatever God has called on their life. That's what God has called me to.
And you know what? You would not be able to do that if you had not gone through your own experiences. You can't
not to the capacity anyway that I have. Yes.
Right, because you can't teach what you don't know and you can't give what you don't have. And we often wonder, why are we going through all this stuff? I remember crying, Lord, why was I born? Why was I born? But I understand that we have to go through the things that we go through so that you can be the minister that you are, and we can do the things that we do. And so for you to embrace that and help others understand their brokenness, which is what we're here to talk about today, talk about that greatness. But one of the things I do want to mention, because both of us having grown up in a religious background, with religious backgrounds, people need to understand there's a marked difference between religion and spirituality and having that relationship that's like this. There are people that go to church every Sunday and may well bust hell wide open because of what's in their hearts. I was just reading a scripture that came to me. It's not what goes into a man that defiles him, it's what comes out. It's those things that are inside of us, and those things that cause us to be broken, those things that cause us to not understand what that relationship is all about. I'm going to be quiet. That is something I could talk about. But I want you to just kind of tell us a little more about Vibrant Living and also about the greatness. We're here to talk about and to help other people be encouraged to pursue their greatness. So I'm going to give you time to just share with us.
Well, I often say that it isn't, your comment that we wouldn't be where we are or the level of making an impact without the things, because it's God turns all things for good.
Yes.
But man, I was in the middle of stuff wondering how things were going to turn for good. But there is time that is involved in that to see the fruition of it turning it into good. And I would have never, ever pictured what I am doing today. It's bigger than I thought was possible. And it's going to be bigger yet because I'm seeing it now. But
That's amazing.
greatness, that really is a stickler for some people, because is there times in your life you felt anything but great? There wasn't.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
when we talk about greatness, we always compare.
And that's a problem.
Yeah, and that's a problem. We
Yes.
compare. I'm not as great as them, or I'm not as good as them, or I'm not whatever than them. And I had a blog a few years ago, because what is greatness? And it is, you ever see an athlete or a singer, or I say those because they're more visible, and they do it, and it's so easy, and it's just flows, and you're like, wow. Now, they didn't do that. They may have of course there's practicing involved and in honing our gifts, but that was a gift.
Yes.
It's just something that is them. And as you begin to see what your gifts are, that's when you discover your greatness.
Absolutely.
The name of my podcast is You Were Designed for Greatness. And I want to help people understand that they were designed for greatness. But greatness means being you.
Yes.
That's all it means, is you being you. You being you to the best you can be.
Absolutely.
Not the you that goes, that's just the way I always am, and that's just the way I'll always be. Not that one.
No.
Not that one. And we've all felt like that. I can't change. This is just the way it is. And we've all felt like that. We've all had days like that. But the you that keeps striving to grow and be the best. So I'm a life mastery coach, and I continue to take education. I continue to have coaches because I want to be the best, absolute best coach that there is. Someone talks with me 10 minutes, their life will be changed. And I don't need an hour, even though there will be more transformation. But that change can happen quickly. It doesn't have to take forever. That's the difference between knowledge and wisdom.
Yes.
There is tons of information on the internet, in YouTube and podcast and books and all the things. And it's overwhelming, the amount of information that we can have. But how do I take that and apply it to my life? It's the old saying, how do you eat an elephant?
One piece at a time. Yes.
And you have to know where to take the first bite or the first step, or what's going to apply to my life.
Yes.
And so all of that is part of your greatness. One story, way that I share it is, all right, Vera, for today, pick a flower that you want to represent you.
A flower that I would want to represent me. And the first thing I think of is a tulip. And I don't know why.
That's okay.
But that was the first thing that
there's
came
no
to my
hidden
mind.
meaning.
Right.
There's no hidden meaning. Okay, I'm going to be a dahlia.
Okay.
All right. So we have a tulip and a dahlia sitting next to each other on this screen. Now, which one's more beautiful?
They're both
Which one's more colorful? Which one's better? You see what I mean? It's like you can't compare.
You can't.
There is no comparison.
You can't. And
even two tulips next to each other are completely different.
Yes. But that's the beauty. Now, that is the beauty of creation. Because Out of all the trees that exist in the world, not one is the same.
Right.
Out of all the flowers that are created, not one is the same. And so when we start comparing ourselves, and every time we do, we always fall short because we are always looking at someone else's greatness without recognizing that greatness that's within you.
What do you think a
And
tree would look like if we created it?
oh my God.
If
Well,
we created it, if we drew a tree, now think about it. When you draw a tree, or you were creating a tree, it would the branches would all be symmetrical, and it would all be the same. And you look at trees, and they're twisted and gnarled, and the branches are all different. We would never create in our mind of what perfect is. We would never create a tree or draw a tree the way they really look. And I was
absolutely.
standing in my yard tonight, and I was grilling on dinner, and I was looking out at my yard at all the stuff. I've got weeds I need to pull from my flower garden that's starting to bloom, and I've got, shrubbery that needs to be trimmed, and all of the things, yard stuff, all the things that need to be done. And I just took a deep breath, and I heard, it's imperfect perfection. And in our human mind, perfect means, all of the manicured hedges and all of the beautifulness, but really nature's random.
Yes.
It is not that way at all. It's that beautiful randomness. When you do a flower arrangement, you make it random.
Very
You don't
true.
have this and all of the things, and we're that way. So when we can be imperfectly perfect, and just allow us to be the way we are, always, of course, looking to do better and to grow better, but allowing that just being, and not having to perform, not having to have other people's approval, not having to always wonder if they love me or if I'm
Yes.
doing something wrong. All of that stuff is all the package of knowing you are
Yes.
great.
Yes. And I want people to understand that we cannot live up to other people's standards or their beliefs
They
or their
can't either.
opinions. I love it. You're right. And so we need to recognize that what's inside of us is something that nobody else has, first of
Mhm.
all. And even scripture says, I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you. I knew who you were before you were born. Well, if that is the case, then think about what was put inside of you. And I think about spiritual gifts
Mhm.
because our spiritual gifts actually lead us to our walks in life. Would you not agree with that?
Mhm.
So,
Yes.
for those of you that are struggling, let's try to help those that may be struggling with trying to identify what their gifts are.
Mhm.
Some things that they can do, because a lot of people say, well, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know why I was born. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. So can you kind of shed some light on what might one consider when thinking about, well, how do I determine my greatness? How do I determine what's inside of me that I'm supposed to do? And one of the points that you made is if it comes easy,
Mhm.
if it comes easy for you and you think, oh, that's nothing,
Yeah.
it is something, because trust me, there's somebody that cannot do what you do. But
Yeah.
anyway, I'm going to be quiet and let you share.
Well, you answered it really well already. Um, that's the thing. For example, my team was saying, I'm like, give me some ideas of stuff that I could do, videos about and teach about. You're always trying, anytime you're creating social media content, it's like, what am I supposed to talk about tonight, kind of thing, right?
Yes, yes,
And you're like, all the things that just come natural to you that you think everybody knows. Those are the things that, because everybody doesn't know it, you just think everybody does because it's easy to you. So of course it's easy for everybody.
Yes.
And that's the first thing. The other point I want to make about this is we talked about spiritual gifts, and I agree with you, but I also have a hesitant, because anybody who has grown up around church religion, we think spiritual gifts are only what you use on Sunday. And
Say
I hear that.
it.
Yeah.
Say it.
And so, but what we don't realize is that the person who collects our garbage is a gift to the world. Can you imagine if we didn't have them? And the person who cleans, or the person who cooks our food at the restaurant, who cooks those meals that you're just like, wow. Or the fast food where you're like, I gotta eat now.
Right, right.
All of those, I can't begin to name them all. All of the various things, everything is spiritual. Everything
you.
is, because we are spirit living in a body, giving reflection of the gifts that God has placed in us.
Yes.
So all of the things, me sitting and talking and listening to people. Who would have thought that's it? I mean, everybody does that, right?
You would
You would think, right?
You would think.
But everybody doesn't do it the way Donna does it.
Right. And I remember this story. I was at a school, and the kids, we were in the process of doing name forms, right? And so each child came up to me with their questionnaire, and I'm just writing these forms like this, right? And this little girl, she's sitting beside me, and she's just looking like this, right, the whole time. And then she looked at me and she says, "Wow, you have a big brain." And then I was like, that was so funny. And I was saying to her, but you got this stuff inside of you too. There's something special that you can do just like this too. It's different. So you have a big brain too. I thought that was so cute. It was so funny. But recognizing that greatness inside of you, and where those spiritual gifts are concerned, when I've done like career coaching, and I've had them look at their spiritual gifts and how they line up with what you do during the course of your day, your job, your career, your passion. All those things tie in because, like you said, we are spiritual beings. And so those things that are inside of us are not meant for just on Sunday morning. It's a daily thing. Absolutely daily.
So the first thing I would say, I always a numbers girl. I give list. I'm that teacher part of me.
Okay.
Is the first
and
thing.
I'm going to put these in the chart in the
look
comments.
look for what's easy to you, and then don't minimize it.
Yes.
Don't minimize it, and then look how you can grow in that. Whatever that might be, and as you've probably discovered, when we live a couple of decades, we learn that whatever we did in our 20s may not always be my life calling, but everything is utilized.
Yes.
And what I did in my 30s may not be my life calling, but everything I do is like, it's part of the puzzle.
Yes.
This tapestry being woven together of what I actually discover that my gifts are. One of the biggest things I had a minister say to me, Donna, you are a gift to God's church, to the body of Christ. But the biggest person who's going to be surprised what's in that present is you. And she was right. Because I said, I never believed I was capable of doing what I'm currently doing. And I'm shaking in my shoes a little bit about what God's showing me next. But everything flows together. So don't make whatever you feel like you're doing in your 20s minimizing that, or, diminishing it.
Yes.
is just understand that everything works together
Yes.
to be part of your life story and weave the
Yes.
tapestry that's absolutely beautiful.
Yes.
And you're the only tapestry that looks like that.
Preach, girl, preach.
I am. And you talk about our past and all of that. When we were in the middle of all of that, I'm like, how in the world is this ever going to turn out well?
Yes.
And we all have those moments in our life where it feels hopeless, but there's always hope.
There's always hope. As long as you have breath in your body,
There's
there
always
is hope. And just we're living in such trying times right now that people are not feeling their greatness. They're not feeling, and our society, I mean, just think if each of us could tap into that greatness that's within us. First of all, we would not be so engulfed in all this negative stuff that's going on, because we would be walking in our purpose and walking in our destiny. And one thing, like as a career coach, understanding that we may have 5, 6, 7, 8 different careers within our lifetime. And just like you said, all of that builds. It builds you to become, by the time they get our age, they can see how every single thing that was put in place, that tapestry that you're talking about, you see how it comes together. So don't give up.
Yeah.
Don't get discouraged.
We talking about the state of the world just made me think, it's when we're really dissatisfied with our own life or being judgmental about our own life and where we are. And I think like 100% of us can believe that I didn't think we would be where we are at this point in our life, especially the last 2 years, the last going through COVID and all of that. No one imagined anything like that. But when we step into being judgmental or dissatisfied with where I find myself, it can make me feel better by picking on other people and telling them they're wrong. And I think that is a lot of what's going on in the world, is because there is a lot of kindness, but there's a lot of meanness.
Right. And misery loves company. And so miserable people are going to do whatever they feel they can. Hurt people.
So if we could bring some hope so that they quit being so hard on themselves and start to look at their gifts instead, I think it could bring a dose of kindness to themselves as well as their neighbor, and recognize, I tease my husband because he'll go, they should do it this way. My husband's name is Lee. And I'll go, well, it isn't the world according to Lee. And he said, well, it should be. And we all think the towel should be folded this way. The toothpaste should be this way. The dishes go in the dishwasher this way. We all have those things. But when I beat other people up because they're not doing it my way, is not recognizing the gifts in them or me. Because the tulip, if the tulip's trying to be the dahlia and the dahlia's trying to be the tulip, they're both miserable.
Yes.
And both of them are magnificent if they just recognize their gifts.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? I got to pause for the cause and do a commercial.
Okay.
So we will be right back. Wait a minute. I don't want to do that one. Okay.
We want to give a shout out to our CTR Media Network sponsor, Terry Coleman from GlobalKeyCapital.com. Global Key Capital is a lender specialized in customized financing solutions. They pride themselves in being one of the industry's most reliable and proven lending groups. At Global Key Capital, their customers are their number one priority, and they strive to provide all of their clients with competitive pricing, unbeatable customer service, and stress-free processing. If you are looking for your next dream home or investment property, give Terry Coleman a call at 866-325-6267. Again, that number is 866-325-6267. GlobalKeyCapital.com.
I'm gonna do.
Miss Mac, $1 million maker, Miss Mac marketing. 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 Make your dreams become reality today with Miss Mac Marketing. 848-236-5026.
Miss Mac Marketing. If you're interested in more visibility, you want to be on magazine covers, you want more publicity, then you want to contact Ms. Mac Marketing at 848-236-5026. Okay, now back to our conversation. You were
Sounds good.
saying before I interrupted us.
I was just talking about if a dahlia compared themselves to a tulip, it's like they're both going to be miserable and they're both magnificent. And so learning to be able to appreciate wherever you are on your life's journey. And I often say, wherever you find yourself, don't make it be your whole book. If your life was a book, let it be a paragraph or a chapter, but turn the page and choose today to look at things new in a new way.
Now, I need you to repeat that. That is important for people to hear. Repeat that.
All right. If your life was a book and you find yourself in an area of your life that you're not happy with, don't let it be your whole life. Don't let it be the whole book. Let it be a paragraph or a page or perhaps a chapter. But turn the page and choose to be kind to yourself. Choose to grow in your gifts and appreciate your gifts and others.
Amen. Appreciate your gifts and others. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Please, this is a very important broadcast. And I know it's going to be aired over and over and over again. You need to understand what we're talking about. We're talking about your greatness. Your greatness is inside of you. Mm-hmm. And it's based on all the things you've gone through.
Yes.
You couldn't have gone through those things if there wasn't something inside of you to help you through it. Clearly understand that. Your greatness need not compare either. Okay, Donna, because I'll get on a bandwagon.
That's all right. That's what a conversation is.
Yes. And let's talk about now with one of the things that I read in your bio about the brokenness, mm-hmm. And so people come to you and they're so broken. Can you and I know we've kind of been touching on it, but if you could touch a little more on it, and fear. You mentioned fear, mm-hmm. and God hasn't given us a spirit of fear, but of peace and of power and of love and of a sound mind. And so understanding, let's first talk about fear, okay? I'm going to give you the floor to talk about fear.
Oh, well, when we talk about living vibrantly, what does that mean? Right? It's like, what does vibrant living mean for us? And in a nutshell, to me, it means me to be free to be me. But free from what? And fear is one of them. Now, we are under the illusion that we will somehow eliminate fear and never have it in our life. But that's just not true. I don't know if you're thinking that something's wrong with you if you have fear, or if you need to never have fear. anything you are doing something new or unknown, there is an element of fear. There's two words in the Greek. One is the terror from something that's horrible and danger. And then there's the fear that I use, that changing fear into excitement, that fear of anticipation of something that I don't know yet, but I think I know it's going to be good. And so there is that anticipation, and there is an element of the unknown, and that could be defined as fear too. So when we talk about fear, there's different ways to look at it. Do you see what I mean? And so, but the one that's the most debilitating is that fear that paralyzes. That fear, the fear of doom, the fear of it turning out poorly, the fear of me being a screw up, the fear of failure, the fear of being rejected. And you and I have experienced all of that stuff. All of that. So the first step is recognizing what is truth.
As a matter of fact, I'm putting in the chat right now, fear, false evidence appearing real.
So what is truth? And the other question I ask my clients is whose voice is it? Whose voice is it? Is it some family member that used to tell you you weren't worth anything? Is it yourself? Is it a teacher? Who is it? Where's the voice coming from? If it isn't coming from God, and if it's fear, it's not. But if it's not coming from God, then it doesn't mean it's true. Just because you think it, just because you feel it, doesn't mean it's true. Would you like to know the secret of defining emotions?
Sure. Let me write it down. I'm going to, How do you define?
So I ask in my Turn Your Baggage into Luggage, this is a question I always ask the group. So are emotions truth? And because we act like they are all the time, that person didn't talk to me or say hi to me. They don't like me. And so I feel like they don't like me. I feel rejected. I feel this. And so we act as if that equals my values. Therefore, I'm rejected, right? So my feelings equal truth. We act that way all the time. But is it really the case? No, it isn't. So do you want to show, I want to tell you right now, I'm going to reveal to you what emotions actually are. Emotions, your feelings, are indicators of what you believe about you.
You know what? Indicators
of what you believe about you.
I love it. And yes, and that ties so much with, we have control over our emotions. We can control just because someone said something about us. One, it doesn't make it true. Mm-hmm. Two, do you believe it? Do you believe it? I mean, I was told you're stupid. I was, and so being called stupid. Now, when I was called stupid as a child, of course, I felt it.
Yes.
But once we recognize who we are and whose we are and our greatness within ourselves, and I recognized that I wasn't stupid when I went to college and started excelling in my grades. But all throughout school, I was an average student, but it's when I recognize some potential that was inside of me, then I also recognize I'm not stupid.
Right. Let me give you an illustration of kind of what I mean, because sometimes it's kind of hard to grasp. So if I walk up to you in a social setting and say, where did you get that outfit? And you were looking in the mirror thinking you were too fat or heavy or something didn't look right before. I've said that. And now you hear, I did look fat. I knew I looked fat. I knew I shouldn't have worn this. And that isn't what I said. But your beliefs created emotions off of something that I said, but what I said isn't what you heard.
Yes.
And
so our beliefs create emotions.
Yes.
Finish that.
So our emotions, our beliefs then created the emotions that had you feeling rejected or not good enough. And it isn't what I said at all. I might have wanted to buy the same outfit or loved it or something like that because I didn't even get to finish. You're already in your head going,
yes,
I know. So, and when I was first married, I had my husband, he'd say, you look nice today. And I'd say, what? I heard him. I just wanted to hear him say it again.
yes.
Oh, because I didn't believe it.
Right.
I didn't believe it. And so I wanted to keep hearing it. And so that I could begin to believe, hey, I do look nice today. And it's okay. So when you notice your emotions, step back and say, what beliefs are they indicating that I have? What are they reflecting? And then if you need some help, give me a call and I'll help you work through it.
And you know what? The thing with emotions, another thing that can help, when you think you're hearing something that really was not what was said, you might want to ask, so is this what I heard you say?
Right.
And get that feedback so that you clearly understand that what was said was not how it was taken.
Yeah, but that's kind of hard in my experience because I'm not going to say to you, so are you saying I look fat? I'm not going to say that.
But if you did say that, they would say, no, I'm saying that's a nice outfit. Where did you get that from?
I
Where
know.
did that come from?
Oh, so many times we just are silent about it because it's an awkward situation that we wouldn't feel comfortable saying that I'm thinking that. But it's still but that is a really good indicator of any communication is when you said this, I heard this, is this what you meant? Is a really good communication skill.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Learning that fear is not truth necessarily at first of all, and then learning that it's indicating what your emotions are, what you believe about you, and being able to recognize truth. It allows us to dispel the lies.
Absolutely.
So that the truth can shine through. And when the flashlight, the light is shined on it, it's not as scary. We're always afraid in the dark.
In the dark.
And so when we shine the truth, we shine the light on it and let the lies be exposed, they're not as scary anymore.
Absolutely. And one thing I want to encourage, in the event that you are not around people that can, in fact, encourage you, can, in fact, say, you look nice today. Talk to yourself. Tell yourself you look nice. Look in the mirror and say, oh, you look nice today. Do that. And remember, it's okay to talk to yourself. It's even okay to answer yourself. You just never say to yourself, huh? What did you say? So remember, self-talk is so important. And when you hear those negative things, you can turn them around. When I heard stupid and recognized, as Eleanor Roosevelt said, and I say this almost on every show, no one can make you feel inferior without your permission. So when I heard it and read that and understood that, then I was able to say, I'm smart. Yeah. So being able, that self-talk is so important. So important. And I do have another commercial.
Okay.
So let me go to it. And okay. Oh, my mouse is acting crazy.
Mama Knows creates high quality products that are available to be used on multiple textures of hair. Her goal is to bridge the gap to stop people from having to use multiple products because of families with multiple hair types. Her products are currently being used on men, women, children of all ethnicities. Mama Knows products are available at www.mamaknowsproducts.com. That's www.mamaknowsproducts.com. You can also find her on Instagram at Mama Knows Products, because you know, Mama knows what you need.
And guess what? Donna knows what you need. Mama knows and Donna knows. So, we've covered a lot of ground here, and I really appreciate you having been on. And I know you've got some other things that you're going to be doing immediately after. So, what I would like for you to do is just kind of share with us some final words and thoughts. And I will let you kind of scoot out of here a little early so that you can get to your next appointment. But what I will do, so I'm going to give you the floor. Take as long as you want, and wrap us up with some nuggets, wisdom, direction.
Sounds good. Understanding that we're designed for greatness is a lifelong quest. As we begin to discover our gifts and know what is in us, because it is a treasure hunt to discover all the things that we are capable of, that we have limited ourselves or other people have limited as we have overcome a painful past or disappointment in life. Who hasn't been disappointed in life? So one of my programs is called Turn Your Baggage into Luggage. I have workshops on a regular basis where I teach skills to be able to overcome any adversity. So anybody out there having adversity or a painful past, that'd be something to check out. There's also on my website, Empowering Habits, and that is a program to help us make good habits. Our habits create our identity. I have a friend who is a runner, and it's part of her identity, and her habit is to run every day. It's not my habit. I won't be running. But our habits create our identity. People who eat healthy and people who don't, people who exercise, people who all kinds of habits. And so how do we make our habits reflect the gifts that are in me that help them to come, so that my habits are empowering, so that I can be all that God created me to be. So all of that, some free books and resources are available on my website. So one of the best other things is, if you want someone to talk to find out where the best resources are, there's also a schedule tab on there. I will end with this thought and story, and then I'm not necessarily ending, but she can, Vera, you can ask me questions as we move forward. But is learning to be able to think bigger than what we have, to get up every day and proceed as if success is inevitable. Some people say, I feel like I'm in a box or in a cage or something. I'm like, well, who put you in there? Because you can get out. Learning to be able to get out. And so to live every day as if success is inevitable. That statement is filled with hope and faith. What we don't realize is that fear is just faith in the negative, because we're always living by faith.
Yeah.
It's just whether we're believing that it's going to work out for my good, or I'm a total screw up kind of a feeling, and it won't. And so learning to be able to turn our faith into the vision that we would like to have in our life, whatever that might be. One of my favorite quotes is, impossibility is not a fact, it's an opinion.
I love it.
And so learning that nothing is impossible. Get yourself out of your box. And what if it would work out? What if it did turn out the way you wanted? What if? And just go for it.
Absolutely. And you said a lot of things there. One of the things you said, turn your faith into,
Excitement. I don't know. Your faith is your vision.
okay, turn
Yeah.
your faith into your vision.
Yeah.
And let me just say, turn your faith into your vision. Let me just say, when you have faith, you can't have doubt. Because they don't operate in the same space. So either you have faith in yourself or you are seeing some doubt there. So trust who you are. Just we can't impress upon you enough. It's like we're trying to get you to understand what's inside of you, regardless of what you've gone through. And like you said, have that expectation of success. Tell yourself, I expect success.
Mm-hmm.
I expect greatness. I expect the impossible. Because with God, all things are possible. There's no such thing as impossibilities. But you gotta believe. You gotta believe. You gotta believe in yourself. You gotta believe in your higher power. You gotta believe. And you've got to know that whatever it is you're going through, and like you said, it's, turn the page. It's just a paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you're going through, know that this too shall pass.
Right.
Nothing stays the same. And also remember, you're either green and growing or ripe and rotten. Now, Donna talked about ongoing learning, continuing to grow, continuing to learn. And it's not about age. It's not about any of that. Because I know 13-year-olds that are green and ripe and rotten. I know 60, 70, 80, 90-year-olds that are green and growing. So it's not about age. It's about attitude.
Mm-hmm.
It's about mindset. It's about what you believe in you. All right.
Oh, and a lot of times when we say that we need to believe, is remember, it can just be a tiny little part of believing. And just a little bit, just begin to, and then get around people who believe in you, who will support you, to help you, help that to grow. Because we all have, I've had doubts and faith at the same time. Like it's going back and forth.
Okay. Wavering, huh?
Yes, that kind of thing. I believe, I'm afraid. I believe, I'm afraid. And getting around somebody that can feed the faith instead of feed the fear. So,
oh, I love it. I love
with that, I will take a run off of here. And thank you, Vera, for this wonderful opportunity. We can easily chat all night.
Yes, we could. We really, really could. We're on the same page.
Yeah.
But I will share a couple more commercials, and I also want to let my audience know about a free workshop that I'm doing on misconceived behaviors. And those same kind of behaviors are the kinds of things that Donna is talking about that keep us from recognizing our greatness, or from even recognizing the greatness in other people. And these misconceived behaviors, well, Donna, I'm going to let you go.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody.
All right, bye.
Great
And
to be
thank you
here.
so much. Thank you.
Yep.
And I'll be talking with you soon.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. So anyway, I want to tell you about these misconceived behaviors that we impose upon ourselves, we impose upon our children, and they're also in the workplace. And so, something just got in my eye. So join me on June 3rd for Instilling Greatness on June 3rd at noon. And it's misconceived behaviors. We're going to be talking about, now there are actually over 20 misconceived behaviors that impact on our families, our education, our workplaces. I'm not going to have time to go over all of them, but I'm going to focus on a few of them. And not only are we going to talk about these misconceived behaviors, but we're also going to talk about where do they come from? What causes these misconceived behaviors? What are the impacts of these misconceived behaviors? And what is some resolution for these misconceived behaviors? So join me. The link is on LinkedIn. I am working on getting my event right. But anyway, join us. And please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please do that. I really appreciate it. And I thank you all for being here. And I want to just thank Donna again for having been my guest. And we will see you all next week.
The Vera and Tommy Show. 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 Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.